Welcome back to Ladies of Another View, and I want to welcome our guest, DawnMarie Alexander Boursiquot. She's with Project 21, and she talks about a lot of different issues in politics, and we're going to talk about voter integrity. So welcome to the show, DawnMarie.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be back with you again.
Well, you were a great guest the first time, so we're expecting you the second time. We know we can count on you. You just, you talk about a lot of things. You know what? Just to let you know in the second segment, because I want to say that you're the owner of Uncommon Voice, right? Coaching and consulting. And I thought, well, we could use a little coaching. So maybe for the second segment, you can help us all out how we can be more successful. We will give us a little tips on coaching. But first, I want to talk about voter integrity. That's a big concern with the upcoming election. And you have talked about this before, right?
I'm very familiar with it. I've been involved with some different groups that have been very instrumental, especially here in California, to get involved with voter integrity. So I'm very familiar with the topic.
But let's start with being familiar, but what are we looking at in the future? Because everybody's a little bit worried about voter integrity. And it's not just, you know, right now Republicans are worried about it because some people wonder was the election honest in 2020? But Democrats have voiced a lot of concerns in the past. The concern about, can we count on these voting machines? What do you know about this?
You know, here's the thing. This is 2024. There are so many things that we can do technologically that it's not that hard. Number one, there's nothing wrong with having voter ID. That there starts with integrity, because if people are voting that shouldn't be voting, then you're never going to have a good, clean election. So that's number one. Voter ID, there's nothing wrong with it. This messaging that it's, or this scare tactic, in my opinion, that's tapping into emotions from years gone by, it's just nonsense. I'm just going to be honest. It's just nonsense. So that whole thought that, oh, we don't need to have an ID. It's going to be underprivileged for low to moderate income people. They don't know how to do it. Unnecessary. People, when they need an ID, if they have to get one for a job, because think about it. When you go in for a job and do your W-9, guess what you need? 2 forms of ID. So their rhetoric or their messaging behind it that makes no sense. Number two, cleaning up the voter rolls. Do you mean to tell me that in 2024, we do not have an effective database that is able to take people in and out of voter rolls? When a person dies, they have to close out their Social Security number. So why isn't that information transferred down to the voter rolls? We need to succinct or make our ability to sign up to vote or register to vote a lot more succinct. You know, living here in California, they are sending out voter registration and everything under the sun. If you apply for benefits, they send it out. If you apply for health care, they send it out. If you go to get your driver's license, they send it out. There needs to be some centralization into how we do it, number two. Number three, so this can be done, and it's just a matter of let's take out the fear and deal with the issue at hand. Let's clean it up and let's go ahead and vote. When it comes to the machines, we need to hold somebody accountable, and like with anything else, there should be a backup system. So this isn't hard. This is 2024. We can put people on the moon. We can put rockets in the sky. This is not a hard issue. They're just trying to attract people or attack people through their emotions.
Do you feel like some of it also is, you know, if we talk negative, if we, you know, make it sound so bad, we're going to discourage people from voting? Because I feel like people get this attitude of like, well, my vote's not going to count anyways, or there's going to be all this voter fraud. So they kind of scare people into not voting.
Well, when you think about it, who are they speaking to? Let's be honest. They're speaking to Black and brown people, and they're bringing up things from the Jim Crow era and the poll tax, and, you know, having to, you know, count jelly beans in a jar or something to vote. So they're really attacking past situations with people. And if we see something like that happening even today, if a state tried to do that, or a county, then we can attack it quickly. But they're specifically targeting low to moderate income people, and they're fostering into that mindset that if you're Black or if you're African American, you know, they really don't care about you anyway. You know, they don't like you. And that is still a rhetoric that is heard throughout Black community. I hear it quite often, and my mind is still baffled by it. It's not that I'm a person that says that some of these things don't exist, but I don't believe that they exist to the degree that one group wants to say that they exist. So yes, they are trying to put fear mongering into people. Maybe people still feel in this country, oh, your vote doesn't matter, you don't matter. And they're trying to scare people into it, because even though we may make up a lower percentage of the population, we make up enough of the population to begin to flip a lot of what happens politically.
So has there really been a lot of changes done in the last 4 years that we can avoid that absentee ballots might just go out to people that don't even want one, or they're not here anymore because they're deceased and they'll still go out? Or, I mean, the ballot harvesting, things like that. I mean, is there any changes that we can be like, yes, we're good?
A lot of it is grassroots changes. I mean, there are small groups, there are groups happening here in California. There are other parties that are doing investigations and encouraging people to get out to be poll watchers. They're encouraging people to get out and knock on doors. There are apps that people are using. So there's apps that are certain groups are using to go on, knock on doors to make sure to check the voter roll. And if you live there or don't live there, they can mark it. So a lot is being done, and it's being done more from a grassroots perspective. You're not hearing a lot about it on the left, but there are groups and people that are trying to make a change and make sure that these voter rolls, by putting lawsuits in or apps, like I said, different political persons, I'm sorry, are doing something to get this message out and to say, no, we're going to clean this up. And if the powers that be aren't going to do it, there are people on the ground that are holding their feet to the fire.
So, I mean, I only have 30 seconds left here, but do you think it's pretty racist when they act like there's some people that can't have voter IDs? Isn't that racist?
I think it's a victim mentality, and they're putting it into that. Let's keep it a little benign, let's say. I don't want to call it that, although I may think that, but to stay on an even keel, let's just say that they're tapping into a negative emotion, a victim mentality, and they're trying to rule with fear.
I appreciate that, because we hear that word too often, I'm sorry to say, and it's weaponized. When we come back, you're going to give us a little coaching, so don't go away. I think we'll all benefit, so we'll be right back.